Got a great conversation with Dr. Dodson, and we discussed the common resistances to taking medication for an ADHD brain. And when I first was diagnosed with having ADHD brain, I had a resistance to the medication as well. And we're going to discuss a couple things that he pointed out. And the one thing that Dr. Dodson really emphasized was that ADHD medications are extremely safe. They've been around for 80-some years. There's been a lot of studies that there's not a great deal of negative effects for long-term use, and it's FDA approved in the States for children as young as 3 years old. The same in Canada, North America, and a lot of other countries will have similar approvals by their medication approval systems. Few reasons for resistance to medication. For me, a lot of these resonated. And the one is the fear of being labeled. ADHD, even though it's talked about more, it's joked about more, it's part of the conversation more and more today. There's still a negative connotation with having an ADHD brain because we're different. There's still the stigmatization of having medication for an ADHD brain, taking that medication, okay? So there's still a fear of labeling. There's a lot of misconceptions about the medication effects that are kind of spread through social media, and a lot of people that really don't know much about the effects. And one of those effects that's really misconceived is the concerns about your personality changing. And I'll be honest, I was afraid that taking ADHD medication was actually going to change the way I work, and I would lose my creativity and my personality would change. And that's not true, and I see that with my kids. If anything, it actually augments. It provides you the space to use those abilities a lot more effectively and efficiently. And this is a big one, which I've seen a lot of people, is most people have an unrealistic expectation of a quick cure of using ADHD medication. They think it's this miracle pill, and it isn't. It's not that. It has different effects for different people. And just because you're not getting this quick cure, people will stop using it, or if they don't feel that quick cure effect right away, they'll stop. And another reason for resistance, and this is one of mine, we didn't discuss this much on the episode with Dr. Dodson, is I'm a very proud, stand up. I like to be strong and self-reliant myself, okay? And having medication, I see this with my diabetes, is I don't want medication to be a crutch. I don't want to solely rely on this stuff to live and do stuff, rather than seeing it as something to augment or improve my health and my life. I just don't want that crutch to be reliant on medication. So I work hard to do things that I don't need the medication. Now, in my case, I'm part of that 70-80% that the stimulants don't have much of effect on my ADHD in comparison to what the world wants. But at the same time, I had a lot more negative side effects of using the medication than positives. So that's one of the reasons that I didn't have. But originally for me, I didn't want to have a crutch to rely on medication for me to live. And that's what I'm really working on with my kids, to understand that this is not a pill to change shit for you. This is a pill to help you, but you still have to do the work, and it doesn't change you, and not to rely on the medication. Now, an interesting part of that conversation as well was Dr. Dodson outlined the consequences of untreated ADHD that we should consider while we're thinking about resisting the use of medication or whatnot. There was this big study done quite a few years ago where they actually identified that untreated ADHD reduced the life expectancy of people by 13 years. So untreated ADHD has negative effects because we're trying to fit into a world that doesn't accept us, and we just don't know what's going on. We don't understand how our brain functions. Therefore, it's coming up with different coping mechanisms that are not healthy and has negative impact on people around us. Okay, so not only does it reduce life expectancy by 13 years, there's also a 400% increase in severe accidents, okay? Severe accidents, and that's a big jump, 400%. 60% chance of substance use disorder, and I'm part of that statistic, and I'll tell you honestly, yes, the untreated ADHD did help help alcohol become to be used as a substance use disorder, and it's true. I think that's very high, and we got to be cognizant of that. And some people, medication will help with that, but see, medication will also help you sort things out with therapy so that you don't have a disorder with substance use. And that's the key. The other consequence as well, and I'm pretty sure we can all relate to this, and I still suffer from this a little bit today because I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon, is that there's a lot of social isolation and difficulty making friends. And it's very painful for kids for this as well, even us as adults. Just because we do it differently, we just don't realize what we're doing because we don't have the explanation of the why. It makes it very difficult to make friends and to keep friends as well. I thought there was a great part to discuss is about the parents' concerns of them having reasons to resist the medication, okay? Because a lot of kids are put on medication because a lot of them need it for the school system. For them to make it through the school system, I do see as a benefit the medication for that, and I see that in my kids. But a lot of times the parents will resist their kids being put on medication because of the fear of the stigmatization of having a kid on medication and a kid with ADHD. It's a genuine concern and fear because you don't want your kids to be ridiculed for something that's misunderstood in the world. You don't want to put your kids in that situation. So sometimes as a parent, the overprotection actually gets in the way of the future benefit of the kids being on the medication so they can keep up with the kids. Just like Dr. Dodson said in another episode, was the medication actually levels out the playing field for everyone, for the ADHD brain to be able to play on the same field as the neurotypicals, especially in the school system. Just like we were concerned about medication changing our personalities, parents do have that concern that's going to change their kid's personality, even become a zombie because of all the bullshit from 30 years ago saying the kids are on Ritalin and they all become zombies. But that had more to do with dosage more than the drugs itself. And the main one is listening to uninformed opinions from social media, friends, family, TikTok, all that stuff, and ignoring the professionals that actually know and have informed opinions about medication use. So it's still ingrained in society, in my opinion, that, okay, yes, we're talking about it more, but ADHD, autism, dyslexia is still seen in a negative way as a fault or you're less than. And just because we do something differently, we still have society telling us it's not a good thing. So of course people are going to resist the medication because if they need to change, if they're afraid of all these reasons of resistance, it's going to make it hard to make an informed decision to do something to take care of yourself. And I think this is a good way to end it. So like Dr. Dodson's key message at the end was doing nothing is not an option, and medication can help individuals with ADHD function more effectively and improve their quality of life. And it's true, and this is what we got to look at it. Just like with my diabetes medication, it improves my quality of life. It's not a crutch. I can use it as a crutch and not do anything with my diet and make me die quicker. But having that medication, changing my lifestyle, has improved my quality of life. And ADHD medication can do that as well, being a stimulant or a non-stimulant as well. So I thought it was a great discussion about medication resistance. It's the person resisting them wanting to take medication, not your body resisting medication. I think I should have clarified that at the front. But it was a great conversation. And if you got any concerns about the medication and you're thinking of resisting having medication, please have a discussion with your doctor and your psychiatrist or your medical professional that's helping you with your ADHD. It's very key that you have that conversation with them. And if you need more data and facts, ask them. They can provide it to you. Stay off of TikTok. Let's talk to the right people that know this stuff. And let me know what you think about this discussion that we had with Dr. Dodson and my summary here. Send me an email at André@theimpulsivethinker.com. I would love to hear from you. And thanks again for learning with me. Talk to you soon.